What's up? I'm Zuki, and this is the Zuki podcast. Let's dive into today's topic: older men dating younger women. So why do older men date younger women? You know, whenever that happens, it raises a lot of eyebrows. For example, you see a 40-year-old celebrity with a 20-year-old model, and it raises a lot of questions from many people. So for instance, someone will say, what do they have in common? Why should a 40-year-old man want to be with a 20-year-old woman? You'll hear things like, a 40-year-old man is mature, a 20-year-old woman is not mature. So it makes no sense for these two people to be together. And there are so many issues that are raised when people talk about this issue. People talk about maturity. They talk about power dynamics in relationships, that come from the age difference. They talk about the manipulation that may go on in such relationships because of the power dynamics. And while such points are valid in this matter, we still have to think about the woman, because when people raise these eyebrows, they look at this as just a man's issue. But I think to clearly understand it, we also have to look at it from the woman's perspective. So this younger woman chose to be with this older man. And by looking at it from that perspective, we come to understand that it is not just about power dynamics, but it's also about choice. The woman gets to choose to be with this older man. And it's important to understand that the younger woman has choices. She has the option to date younger men. She has the option to even date younger women if she wants to do that. And to look at it as just a man's issue, we fail to acknowledge the fact that the woman also has a lot of power in this decision. She gets to choose, and a young woman has a lot of options. So the fact that she chose to be with the older man, it's an expression of a freedom of choice. She made that choice to be with the older man. And whether the society agrees with that issue, it's not really relevant when dealing with such a matter, because these are consenting adults choosing to be together. And unless we choose to look at it from that aspect of freedom and choice, we ignore the woman's choice in this matter. And that's just not the way you're supposed to look at the issue. So while those other factors like power dynamics, the patriarchy and everything else, while they are involved in this, while they are valid, it's important that we look at the woman's choice. She gets to choose this. She can still choose to be with a younger man, but she chooses to be with an older man, and that's okay. So the bottom line here is choice, freedom of choice. And by saying that this is wrong without looking at the woman, we are just doing what has always been happening in the past, whereby the woman's choice is ignored and we just look at the man's choice. So it's important that we also have to acknowledge that even though this may sound like it's wrong because of these power dynamics in relationships, we also have to look at the woman's choice. She gets to choose this. She can still choose to be with a younger man if she wants to, So that aspect of choice is what we have to look at, because people have fought hard for women to have these choices, to get to have the choices they want, to get to be with the people they want to be with, because in the past, these choices were made for women. They didn't get to make the choices. A woman will be traded off to another family just like that. And now that she can get to make this choice, and the society still fails to acknowledge that, it's a bit wrong and backward, So whether the moral and ethical conundrums that surround this issue are valid or not, it's important that we acknowledge the choice that the woman has in this matter. And it's not just about the woman. Even in some cases, older women choose to be with younger men. So it is still a choice on these two people, as long as they are consenting adults. They choose to be together, and so the choice has to take precedence in such issues, because this person gets to choose to be with the other person, and it's not, so it's not an issue of power, of manipulation, of patriarchy or such things, but it's all about freedom of choice. She chooses to be with this person, and that has to be respected before you talk about other things. And at some point she can still choose not to be with this person, which is still her choice. So I believe when talking about who she can be with, that is not really the society's business. It's her business. She chooses to be with whoever she wants to be with. So I think this is an issue that it happens a lot whenever a celebrity you hear of 40-year-old celebrities dating a 20-year-old woman. Immediately there is this backlash that comes from a lot of people, maybe women rights movements or feminists, and they say, this is wrong. You know, what can they have in common? And I think that is a part where people they fail to acknowledge that she gets to have that choice. You know, it's a choice. She can choose to be with a younger man, but she chooses to be with an older man, which doesn't mean that. So whether they agree with it or not, they have to respect that people have actually fought for these rights, for these freedoms, for this choice, and now she gets to choose. You know, so I think we have to look at it from the perspective of choice. You know, and we have to understand that as long as she gets to choose, there is nothing wrong with it. You know, it's not about manipulation. She has the choice. She can choose not to. She chooses to. So it is not about power. It's not about maturity. It's about choice. So thank you for watching. I hope you get to subscribe to this channel, and we can continue to talk more. Thank you.